Sadly, it looks like we've suffered another loss of control in IMC conditions, this time a Cessna 414, while on departure from San Jose's International Airport, while trying to climb through the marine layer 12:30 yesterday, Sunday afternoon on the 8th of June. Here's what we know so far. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the BLANCOLIRIO channel. And this video is brought to you by viewers like you that sponsor this channel here on Patreon. Thank you for your support. First, we have this important piece of data from Live ATC, a report of the bases and the tops of the marine layer just several minutes after the crash near the scene of the crash.
Departure Cessna 492 Delta, bases were 1,600, top 2,400.
So Cessna 4922 Delta reported that the bottoms of the marine layer were 1,600 feet MSL and the tops were 2,400 feet MSL, so about an 800-foot thick marine layer at the time of the accident. And this is the coastal fog that's so prevalent along the coast here in California this time of year. And now we have this incredible little clip from San Diego's Twin Surf Cam showing one of the gyrations of the aircraft where he nearly hit the water but pulled up and went back into the clouds. So be in the upper right portion of the screen. We'll see a seagull coming across first. Here he is. Now watch the upper right portion of the screen. There's the aircraft, and there is the pull-up. Estimated about 200 feet above the water according to the ADSB data. Well, let's look at that again. And pause. There's the Cessna 414, completely intact, and according to eyewitnesses on the ground in news reports and newspaper reports, eyewitnesses on the ground thought the aircraft was doing aerobatics, and they heard the engines, both engines, operating at high speed, including just prior to impact. And right there is a little white anomaly, which I believe is just a, what do you call that? An artifact off of the video as the aircraft is pulling out and climbing right back up into the clouds. Right there. So if we get the ADSB data from ADSB Exchange, which shows several left-hand 360-degree turns, download this KML data here onto Google Earth and put it in 3D, this is what it looks like. And it's likely that that video clip from the surf camera was this descent and climb, narrowly missing the ocean by about 200 feet. Looks like it's right off of Ratkay Point. So the entire flight only lasted 6 minutes. The aircraft departed and was given a vector to 180 degrees, and then pretty quickly began losing control of the aircraft with one big climbing and diving 360, followed by a second 270, followed by a final climb and descent into the ocean. So with the bases reported at 1,600 feet and the tops at 2,400 feet, looking at the preliminary ADSB data, it looks like that as soon as the pilot got into the marine layer, the 800-foot thick marine layer, he began to have problems controlling the aircraft right about here. And if we look over here on the left-hand side, we can look at the rate of climb or descent. 1,900 feet, slowing to 94 knots, 93 knots, 102 knots ground speed, 2,000 feet. He's getting into this left-hand turn, 105 knots, 1,500 feet. Rate of descent begins picking up to 9,000 feet per minute. Now, it's hard to tell how accurate this geometric rate of descent is, but this first descending turn picks up very steep, presumably as he rolls this aircraft over to perhaps 90 degrees or even greater, and that will set you up for a very high rate of descent, especially if you got those throttles forward in the 414, a very high performance pressurized twin engine Cessna. 16,000 feet per minute rate of descent. Takes it all the way down to here at 200 feet and 180 knots. Still showing 9,200 feet per minute down, but that's going to be lagging data as he begins that pullout and recovery. It must have been quite a few G's pulled on the airframe as well to make this recovery at that speed. And then he begins climbing away from the ground at 4,000 feet per minute and 181 knots. From here, the pilot recovers and is below the bases of the marine layer at 1,000 feet, 1,400 feet, 1,500 feet. But then, once again, as soon as he begins climbing up into the marine layer at 1,600 feet, 1,700 feet, he again begins to lose control of the aircraft. And the reason why these turns are so short or quick is that because he's rolling the aircraft nearly inverted and pulling through the bottom. That's how you get these sharp turns like this. Loss of control in instrument meteorological conditions. 8,000 feet per minute, descending out of 1,100 feet, and then pop back out of the marine layer, and we're down to 800 feet, and then begin a climb back up, and looks like to 1,400, 1,700, 1,800 feet, right back up into the soup again, and then one final descent. 5,000 feet per minute, 8,000 feet per minute, 7,800 feet per minute, 6,200 feet per minute, and the last data point is at 500 feet and 6,000 feet per minute. So investigators will need to determine whether that aircraft came down in one piece or was broken up by the time it came down, but eyewitness reports seem to indicate that they eyewitnessed the aircraft popping out of the clouds on the final descent into the water, intact and with both engines running hard. Here's a picture of the actual aircraft that was involved in the accident, 414 Bravo Alpha, a 1970 Cessna 414 twin-engine aircraft. This is a pressurized twin-engine aircraft, a rather complicated, very expensive to maintain light twin with the pressurization system. And in these undated photos from aircraft.com, when the aircraft, well, this is dated. It says October of 2009. Years ago, it shows the old steam gauges. Now, we have no idea what the present configuration is of the aircraft at the time of the accident. Was this original six-pack gauge updated since? We don't know yet. Looking at the previous flight history is going to be a little bit of a challenge. It looks like it came over to San Diego on Saturday from Phoenix Sky Harbor, and before that had a short flight over to Sky Harbor from Safford Regional Field there in Arizona, and then a series of data points from Springerville, Muni. These may have been short maintenance test flights, or they might have even been just ground runs of the aircraft. Sadly, there were 6 fatalities on board this aircraft. Now, FAA registration, which is often very much lagging data, shows that the aircraft was registered to Optimal Health Systems, LLC, out of Arizona. But preliminary reports indicate that this aircraft has since recently sold, and a young ferry pilot or contract pilot was operating the aircraft at the time of the accident, but this needs to be yet confirmed. As to who was flying the aircraft, none of the names of the deceased have been released at the time of this recording. Now let's listen to the ATC data from Live ATC while we look at the ADSB data translated over here onto Google Earth. We're looking towards the south in this view.
November 1414 Bravo Alpha, traffic 6 mile final, runway 27, line up and wait.
Line up and wait, 4 Bravo Alpha.
By the way, this ATC data has been compressed to eliminate delays and extraneous transmissions excluded.
November 414 Bravo Alpha, wind 270 at 10, runway 27, cleared for takeoff.
Takeoff, 4 Bravo Alpha.
November 414 Bravo Alpha, contact SoCal departure.
Over to SoCal, 4 Bravo Alpha. SoCal departure, 414 Bravo Alpha, to 1,000.
414 Bravo Alpha, SoCal departure, radar contact. Bravo Alpha, turn left heading 180.
Left heading 180, 4 Bravo Alpha.
This is the left turn to 180.
4 Bravo Alpha approach.
4 Bravo Alpha.
Bravo Alpha, what's your altitude?
1,000 feet, 4 Bravo Alpha.
4 Alpha, Bravo Alpha, low altitude alert. Advise you climb and maintain 4,000 immediately.
Climb, maintain 4,000 immediately, 4 Bravo Alpha.
Climb and maintain 4,000 feet immediately. Low altitude alert for 4 Bravo Alpha, presumably down here.
Bravo Alpha, are you doing okay there? Do you need any assistance?
Affirmative, thank you.
4 Bravo Alpha, everything okay out there? Do you need any assistance? And he responds with affirmative.
4 Bravo Alpha, what seems to be the issue?
Just struggling right now at the present, maintaining heading.
What seems to be the issue, the controller asks him, and he says, I'm just having trouble maintaining heading, and a rather resigned tone of voice. Let's hear that again.
4 Bravo Alpha, what seems to be the issue?
Just struggling right now at the present, maintaining heading. And climb.
Just struggling right now to maintain heading, and I think he said hand flying. Remember, he's in the soup at this point.
4 Bravo Alpha, you're struggling to maintain altitude and headings. Maintain as high as you can for now, at least above 2,000.
Maintain above 2,000, 4 Bravo Alpha.
Maintain above 2,000 for Bravo Alpha. He responds.
4 Bravo Alpha, the closest airport I can get you to is North Island Airport, which is off your left in like 1 mile. Do you see that?
Negative, 4 Bravo Alpha.
Under 4 Bravo Alpha, 4 Bravo Alpha, there's an airport off of your east side, and about 3 miles is a crisscross runway. It's North Island. It's your closest airfield.
Did you hear that? It sounds like 4 Bravo Alpha blocked the controller on that transmission. And I don't know what 4 Bravo Alpha was trying to say.
Made it.
4 Bravo Alpha, if you see North Island, you're cleared to land. 4 Bravo Alpha, if you see the airport, you are cleared to land. Your 4 Bravo Alpha, approach.
Then 4 Bravo Alpha admits mayday, mayday, mayday. He has lost control of the aircraft. So investigators will be looking very closely at the records of the pilot. Who was the pilot of 4 Bravo Alpha? What was his recency of experience? Was he current and qualified to fly the complicated 414 pressurized twin-engine aircraft in one of the most demanding forms of general aviation flying there is? A single pilot. We presume it's a single pilot operation. We don't know if he had another rated pilot in the right seat at this time. But single pilot flying in IMC conditions of a light complicated twin like the 414 is one of the most demanding types of flying you can possibly do in aviation. Meanwhile, investigators will have to hire somebody to fish the 414 out of the ocean there and try to determine if they can find anything wrong with the aircraft prior to the accident. Was there any sort of malfunction that may have led to this loss of control in instrument meteorological conditions, in the soup, in the fog? Or was this another classic case of spatial disorientation in IMC conditions? We won't know that until the final investigation is complete. Meanwhile, for all of us, make sure you are current and qualified in instrument flying conditions, especially handling something like a complicated light twin solo before you go charging off into these sort of conditions. Thank you so much for your support of this channel, especially the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.